Hello, good evening. How are you today? It's Tuesday, yeah? Happy Tuesday. So, tonight we're getting back into The Music Lesson, a spiritual search for growth through music by Victor L. Wooten. And tonight we're getting into chapter 7, also known as Measure 7. Oh, my glasses. I think my. Oh, yeah, I was reading on the couch earlier today. Whoops. Okay, I got it. Welcome, AF. Welcome, Kimba. Welcome, all and any. So, let me get my foot. Oh, there we go. My foot tucked up under there. So, we're getting back into this book at Measure 7, which is entitled Rhythm/Tempo. Hey, buddy. Welcome in. Hey, that way. Awesome-o. So, the little blurb before we get into that is if you pay attention correctly, it won't matter if you're in another room or in another state. You'll still be able to feel the pulse. Yeah. Okay, I want to flip this over. I was kind of rushing around and yeah, I made it at 633 instead. Genevieve, welcome in. It's so good to see you. Mwah, so good to see you. Awesome-o. Dude, juicy. This whole book. A sip and into the meat of it. Oh, yummy yum. I woke up with a headache. Trying to assimilate all the new knowledge was taxing my brain. Although I was tired, sleep had eluded me for the majority of the night. I was so excited about what I was learning that I couldn't get it off my mind. Anytime Michael introduced a new idea, it sparked another one. This new idea would then spark yet another one, and so on. My brain, not wanting to waste time with sleep, caused me to stay up later than I was used to. I'm sure it was all part of his design. I went to the kitchen to get myself a glass of orange juice. Most people start their day with a cup of coffee, but me, I have to have a glass of orange juice. I've never had a taste for coffee or alcohol, but if they ever start an Orange Juicers Anonymous organization, I will have to be the president. Especially fresh squeezed orange juice. I will have to be president. I opened the refrigerator and it was empty. No orange juice. I would have to go to the nearest store if I was going to get my fix. It was early, at least for me. If I were the type to wear pajamas, I would have still been wearing them. Instead, I wore my usual sweatpants and t-shirt. Normally, I don't like going out first thing in the morning because first thing in the morning starts about 4 hours later for me than it does for other people. When the sun is almost straight overhead, people expect you to at least look like you've been awake for a while. I'd only been gone for about 20 minutes, so you can imagine my surprise when I walked back into my house and saw a little boy sitting on my couch holding my bass guitar. Believe it or not, my first instinct was to apologize for the mess, but then I remembered that he was just a little boy. I looked around to see who he was with and found it puzzling that he was alone. I didn't know what to think. He looked like a nice kid, short and skinny with dark hair that was both bushy and wavy. He also wore glasses. It was obvious to me that both his pants and shirt were ironed and his shoes were spotless, unlike the beat-up sneakers most kids his age wore. He looked like the geeky kid who gets picked on in school. The kid watched me with a smile on his face as I continued to look him over, trying to figure him out. He didn't appear to be lost. He just sat there with the confidence of someone who knew where and who he was. For some reason, I also felt that he was where he was supposed to be. Kindness, no, politeness, if there is a difference, seemed to radiate from him. That eased my mind. "Who are you?" I asked. "Michael said you needed help with your timing," he answered, still smiling. "I hope you don't mind that I was playing your bass." "What's your name?" "Sam, sir." "How old are you, Sam?" "I'm 11, he answered. 11? Michael sent an 11-year-old boy to help me with my timing? Yes, sir, he answered. Yes, sir, he answered matter-of-factly, still smiling. Well, okay then. I was really at a loss for words. "You want a beer?" I joked. No, thank you, he answered, ignoring my failed attempt at humor. But I will take a glass of orange juice. You should have a cup of water. It'll help you with your headache. His high pitched voice was as polite as any I'd ever heard. I brought the bag into the kitchen and poured us each a tall glass of juice. Letting a kid tell me what to drink was not my intention, but this kid was cute. Then it hit me. How did he know about my headache? I was used to that kind of stuff from Michael, but from an 11-year-old? The kid was intriguing. I didn't really want the juice anymore, but I drank it anyways, just to prove a point. Oh my gosh, she's such a young adult, that Lily. She's so beautiful. 11. So tall. Walking back into the living room, I asked, "Can you play?" A better question is, "Can you play?" He answered, still smiling. Oh my gosh. Is this actually Michael? I see that you've been hanging around Michael. What are you here to show me? I asked, emphasizing the word show, to let him know I'd been around Michael a bit too. I want to help you with your timing, but first I think we should deal with your headache. We? I asked. Yeah, I'll help you with it if you'd like me to. All right, I answered, more to appease him than because I believed him. Okay, the first thing you need to do is smile. I wasn't about to smile. His constant smile was already starting to irritate me. I frowned instead. I can relate. I frowned instead. Michael told me that you would act this way, he commented. Like what? I asked. Like a donkey. Okay. Michael used a different word that I'm not allowed to say, but I think he meant stubborn. He started to laugh. He said you'd rather keep the headache than risk learning something from a kid. Too much pride, I guess. Now it seemed Michael also knew I had a headache. Did he have the kid programmed? I stood there trying hard not to let the 11-year-old confuse me. I could feel myself getting angry. Not knowing what else to do, I decided to see what the boy had to offer. There was no one around to witness it if he happened to be much smarter than I, so I decided to give in to him. Okay, Sam, what do you want me to do? Smile. Really, just smile. Think of something nice or funny that will make you smile. But it has to be real. It will help slow down your tempo a bit. Tempo and temper are related, you know? The kid seemed to know what he was talking about, so I decided to give it a try. I thought about the time that I saw Michael perform 3 cartwheels in my living room. It was in response to my finally understanding a concept of his that I was having trouble with. He told me it was he told me it is what a child would have done. Watching him maneuver his tall frame around the furniture in my small living room was a sight to behold. That memory made me laugh. Great, Sam said. Now, how do you feel? I have to admit, I do feel a little better, I answered. It was the truth. Smiling immediately relieved much of the tension. The headache wasn't completely gone, but the throbbing in my temple had slowed down. It was tolerable. If I had to spend the rest of the day feeling like this, I could do it. That thought caused me to smile even more. Of course, Sam was still smiling, but now it didn't bother me as much. That's always the first thing you should do whenever you want to feel better. It works for anything, even nervousness or stage fright, he revealed. It's also infectious. People around you will start to smile too. Saturnian! Awesome! Welcome in! I met with this cool dude this afternoon, and he actually said that. He said he said donkey, and he totally meant jackass. I'd never heard anybody do that before, and then just like 2 hours later, boom. It's cool. I'll have to remember that. I don't get stage fright, but I will try it for everything else. Oh, you will, he said. I wasn't sure what he was referring to, so I let it go. What should I do next? I asked. You should bless your headache. What? Bless it, he repeated. Appreciate what it's telling you. That's important. What do you mean, bless it? I don't want this headache. I didn't ask for it, and I surely don't want to bless it. I don't know what it's telling me, but I'm telling you that you need to spend more time with that friend of yours because this time, kid, you are wrong." Still smiling, he proved me wrong. "Maybe you didn't ask for it, but you should be grateful for it. It's an indicator." "A what?" I asked. "When your car starts to run out of gas, a little indicator light comes on as a warning. That's a blessing. Your attitude toward the light should be an attitude of gratitude. You don't get mad and want to tear it up, do you? You don't want to take something to make it go away either. You're happy that the light gave you the warning, right? You also know that if you don't pay attention to the warning, you might have a bigger problem. So what we need to do is treat your headache like that little light. When your headache shows up, you should first be thankful for it. Know that it's here as an early warning, then deal with it right away. In other words, if your timing is right, you can erase the problem before it becomes one." Cool, huh? Dude. Once I recognized the warning signs, how do I get rid of the headache? I asked him. The kid was making sense, and I was interested in hearing what else he had to say. "You need to figure out what it's warning you about. What's the cause? It's not enough to recognize the signs. You have to get to the root of the problem. I hear that you have problems finding the root." He winked his left eye and flashed a Michael-esque grin. Dude, is this kid Michael? "Now, sometimes the root may be bruised way down deep, but it must be dug up. It must be exposed so that it can be worked on and prevented in the future. In this case, it's easy. You just need to drink more water and less juice. In other cases, the causes may be much deeper than that. You may have to deal with them in stages. The main point is that you got to deal with them." "Okay, you say that I need to drink more water. Is that the cause of my headache? Will drinking some water make it go away?" "Maybe it will, maybe it won't. That's up to you. But even if it doesn't, you should still be happy that your indicator light came on. Then you should thank it." "Thank it?" I asked with perhaps thank it. I asked with perhaps more belligerence than I should have. "Thank my headache?" "Sure," smiling boy replied. "If it weren't for your headache, you might not know that your body was dehydrated until it was too late. So yes, you should be thanking and blessing your headache right now. That's what I think." For some reason, maybe because no one else was around, I decided to try it. I told my headache I was proud and happy that it acted as an early warning system. I thanked it for showing up and for gently nudging me back on track. I also welcomed it to return any time I needed it to. It actually felt really good to thank my headache. And to my surprise, after I was finished, my headache was gone. "How do you feel?" Sam asked. "I feel great. My headache is gone," I exclaimed. Without hesitation, Sam got up and did 3 cartwheels around my living room, just as I'd seen Michael do. His small frame twirled around so fast that I nearly missed the display. How he did it without knocking anything over in such a tiny space was pretty amazing. Then it hit me. Had I thought about Michael doing cartwheels out loud? Or had Sam... Wait, how did he know? I don't know about this boy, I thought to myself. Or was it only to myself? "A headache can teach us a lot about timing," Sam said after finishing his exhibition. "How so?" I asked. "They come at the perfect time. Imagine if they showed up after our bodies broke down." "I guess you're right." And speaking of timing, he paused and reached into his book bag. Hearing his gentle, high-pitched voice reminded me that I was dealing with a kid, but I also realized that it no longer bothered me. Pride had receded. We were just talking about age in Angel's chat room too, yesterday or the day before. That's cool. From his bag, he pulled out a drum machine and plugged it into a spare channel on my bass amp. Without turning it on, he handed me the bass and instructed me to play. "Play what?" I asked. "He told me you'd say that too," the youngster commented. "Play anything. Play something you'd play with a band." I thought for a moment and then played a familiar pattern. Sam interrupted me rather quickly. "I can tell you've played that lick like a zillion times, right?" Of course he was right. Yes, I have. Or, yes, I have, I sheepishly replied. Okay, then, stop thinking about it. Your rhythm is all screwed up. You've been playing the bass guitar and that lick long enough that you shouldn't have to think about 'em anymore. If you have to think about them all the time, it will show up in your playing. And if you continue to play only your bass and your licks, then will you ever get to play music? Wow. Are you sure you're only 11? I asked, not expecting an answer. It was a good point. A great point, actually. What should I think about then? I asked. Well, for now, think about your timing because when you're playing by yourself, it's not that good. When you play with a drummer, it is good. So I recommend that you hear the drummer as you play. Even before you play, hear the drummer in your head. Do that for a few bars before you begin this time. Taking his advice, I imagined a drummer playing a steady beat. When I was ready, I played along. This time, even I could tell it was better. It felt good. I could see Sam bouncing his head to the beat like a little dark haired bobblehead doll. Then I hit a wrong note and my attention went back to the bass. Sam heard it too. No, he cried out. For this exercise, keep your full attention on the drummer. You don't need to think about the bass at all, even when you play a wrong note. I did that for a while longer, following Sam's gentle instructions. He also gave me other things to experiment with. At one point, he asked me to imagine an explosion going off on the first beat of each measure, assuring me that it would surely lock me into the rhythm. I did. Sam suggested that when I'm at a gig, I should divide my attention between myself and the rest of the band. But for these specific exercises, all attention should go to the focus points he was giving me. The young man then turned on the drum machine, which he'd already programmed with a 4-bar pattern. He instructed me to play and told me to stick to a simple groove, not a solo. I did that until he felt I was comfortable. Then he made a change on the machine. He played the same pattern, but this time, the 4th bar was completely empty. For 1 bar of the pattern, I was playing without the drums. This was to see how steady I could hold the time by myself and then come back in on beat 1. The machine would let me know if I was correct or not. Once I'd succeeded at that, Sam repeated the exercise 2 more times, first leaving out bars 3 and 4, and then leaving out bars 2, 3, and 4. That left me with only 1 full measure to find the rhythm and 3 measures to hold onto it. He allowed me to get comfortable with each phase as the exercise became progressively more difficult. Even though the drums are not playing, he told me, the pulse is still there. You got to grab onto that pulse as quickly as you can and lock it into your body. It's really important that you do that. Then you'll feel where you need to be at all times. I knew what he was talking about. When playing with a good drummer, the pulse can easily be felt. Even though different drummers have different pulses, I still agreed with Sam. If I was really in the groove, I would definitely be able to feel the pulse. Now, I'll make it just a little bit harder, he said. This will tell us how locked in you really are. He changed the drum machine once more. There were still 4 measures playing, but there was an audible beat programmed to play on beat 1 only. I only had 1 beat out of 16 to grasp the tempo. He can't be serious, I thought. He was. A bit intimidated, I closed my eyes and listened closely. To my surprise, I could do it. I could still feel the pulse, and I locked onto it. It was a little strange. Even though there was no audible pulse playing, I could definitely feel it. With just 1 beat to go on, I kept perfect time for the next 15 beats. I was so happy that I felt like doing 3 cartwheels myself. I opened my eyes to find Sam fiddling with the drum machine once again. He changed it back to the original program consisting of 4 complete patterns. Now we'll start over, he continued. Play the same groove, but this time start adding in some fills at the end of measures. It was pretty easy until the drum machine started leaving out measures. It was then that I realized where my focus went whenever I played a fill. I rushed like crazy during every one of them, and the drum machine let me know it. Sam pointed out that during my fills, my attention would revert back to the bass, and the groove would falter because of it. That was a big no-no. Remember, he said, For this exercise, keep your focus on the pulse, not on what you're playing. Hey, commentator, welcome in. Hey, Matt Man, good to see ya. Welcome, everybody. Mm. Mm. When I succeeded at each phrase of the exercise, he started the whole process over again, this time instructing me to all out solo. It was difficult. Trying to figure out what to play and keep the pulse was easier said than done. I did well at the beginning stages of the exercise, but when it got down to having only one beat out of 16, I was completely lost. Raising his hand to stop me, Sam spoke. When you get to the place where you can solo to just one beat every 4 measures and not lose the pulse, playing with a drummer, even a bad drummer, will be a piece of cake. Here, let me show you. He picked up my bass and played a very solid groove to the pattern consisting of only one beat. I was shocked. This 11-year-old boy could play, and he smiled the whole time. Maybe that's the key. If it worked on my headache, maybe it could work on my groove. He then proceeded to play the best bass solo I'd heard in a long time. He started with a 16th note pattern, leaving a space on beat 1 just so I would know he was right on it. He didn't deviate from the pulse, even a little. Just when I thought it couldn't get any better, Sam took it to another level. There's one more level to the one beat part of this exercise, Sam told me. It's an advanced level. You're not ready for it, but I'll show it to you anyway if you'd like. I can't imagine anything more amazing than what you just did, but yes, please show me. Before, when we were playing, we were focused on feeling the pulse, he said. It was feeling the pulse that allowed us to stay in time. Now the goal will be to lose the pulse altogether. Let's not focus on it. I'll try my best to have no idea where it is. I'll allow the feeling in my body to tell me how much space has gone by. Then I'll make a guess and see if I can play on beat 1. Dude. He resumed playing to the one beat only pattern on the drum machine. At first, he allowed his amazing groove to take over, but then he started playing random patterns in no particular rhythm. Wow. He was talking to me at the same time. Every time beat 1 came around, he was right on it. It was pretty amazing, but it was nothing compared to what he was about to show me. Turn the volume all the way down, he instructed. There's a blinking light on the machine that'll tell you where beat 1 is. I won't look at it, but I'll still try to keep time with it. Let me know how I do. Hugs! Hey! Awesome. No capitals, welcome in. Excellent. I did what he asked when all of a sudden, he put the bass down and walked into the kitchen. My eyes darted between him and the drum machine. I didn't know what he planned to do. I could hear him pouring himself a glass of orange juice. Except for the sound of juice hitting the glass, it was silent in the room. Then, from the kitchen, I heard him shout, "1!" I was looking at the light on the drum machine, and he was right with it. It was unbelievable. It is still unbelievable. His voice and the blinking light were completely in sync. I watched as he walked down the hallway and into the bathroom. He relieved himself and flushed. After washing his hands, he again shouted, "1!" It seemed impossible. If I wasn't witnessing it, I would have never believed that anyone's timing could be that good. Returning to the living room, he took a seat next to me on the couch. He looked directly into my eyes as Michael had done many times before. For once, he wasn't smiling. His voice lowered. Music is alive, and if you treat her that way, she will speak to you. You will feel her pulse. That is her heartbeat. If you pay attention correctly, it won't matter if you're in another room or in another state. You'll still be able to feel it. As he talked, Sam appeared much older. His voice took on the tone of someone much wiser than his age allowed. I listened carefully, as he continued. It doesn't have to take long to learn what I just did. Music is played from the mind, not the body. So do whatever you can to exercise your mind. That's very important, okay? With the comment, he stood up to leave. I was in awe. Shouldn't you be in school? I joked. This is school, isn't it? Earth school. This is school, isn't it? He answered, smiling again. He then turned and walked away. As I watched him close the door, I sat there amazed at the little kid who had just given me a music lesson. Even though I was a bit embarrassed at the situation, I wished that someone else had been there to witness what I'd just been through. I knew that no one would believe me if I told them. I sat back on the couch trying to remember all that Sam had shown me. As I started to get up to get myself a glass of water, I realized that he'd left his drum machine. How would I ever find him to return it? I didn't know who he was or where he lived. I looked at the machine and noticed it was still running. Just then, I heard the door open. It was Sam. "One!" he shouted, just as the light blinked. "You can keep it. Thanks for a really fun day, sir. Timing is everything, isn't it?" I sat, stunned and silent. Oh my. That was the whole chapter. Oh my gosh. It was only 26 minutes and 33 seconds. Let me see how many pages this next one is. Dang. 7 p.m. 30 minutes. You know what? We're going to call it here. I might go live again tonight. I might not, but I will surely be here tomorrow. Wow. That's something. Dang, I love it. Yeah, I got to soak it in. I love yous. I love you so much. Thanks for joining me here. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Michael. Thank you all. I love you. Mwah. I'll see you then next time, whenever that be.